I hear you.
And these characters too. It's gonna be a long night. Now I'm telling you, we're only here till 6. Okay? So I'm cutting you off at 6.
No problem.
Oh, that's right. She's renewed it, but then she spent 7 years in She lives in Congress. She and I did quite well. And then there's a couple of people that occasionally meet us and we
Good afternoon, everyone. Great to see so many folks here today. I'm Joe Cole with Fox 21 here in Colorado Springs. Just for the record, if you'd had somebody else from another television station do this today, it would be snowing and freezing. So thanks for having me. It's my pleasure to be here. I'd like to welcome you to the My VA Pikes Peak Veterans Town Hall. Thank you all for joining us today. At this time, I'll ask you to please stand for the presentation of colors.
Color guard. Oh. Right about. March. Color guard. Oh. Pose. Colors. Ready. Move. Present. Arms.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Right flank. March.
All right, please join me in thanking the Fountain Fort Carson High School Army Junior ROTC Choir. You may be seated. All right, I'd like to begin by recognizing some guests in attendance. From the Colorado Springs City Council, Andres Pico and Tom Strand. Thank you for being here. Also, we have representatives from Senator Bennett's office, Senator Gardner, and Congressman Lamborn. So thank you for being here as well. If there's anyone I missed, you could please stand and we'll recognize you as well. Miss any other elected officials? All right, very good. I'd also like to thank our additional sponsors, the Gazette, El Paso County, and of course the Norris Penrose Event Center, as well as the many volunteers that are here today. Some quick housekeeping items to share. When you checked in today, you received a question contact form. If you would like to ask a question of the panelists, please jot down your question, and the team members will collect the written questions for today's panel. Also, several of you may have the same or similar questions, so we may need to consolidate some of those questions. Also, if you have a question specific to your situation, obviously that is private, please see the VA tables in the back, and the VA staff member will actually assist you. We may not be able to get everyone's questions in today, however, the My VA Pikes Peak team will work to answer all of your questions with general questions and answers posted on the My VA Pikes Peak website. That link is in your program, so you can check that out. And if questions require personal, private response, please provide again your contact information on the form, and the VA staff member or appropriate provider will actually follow up with you as needed. All right, let's move on to our program. Get all my proper information here. All right, excellent. We are honored here today, by the way, to have Mr. Danny Pummel, Acting Deputy Undersecretary for Benefits, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, with us today. Now, Danny Pummel was actually appointed Acting Undersecretary for Benefits in the Department of Veterans Affairs on October 19, 2015. In this position, he leads more than 20,000 employees in the Veterans Benefits Administration in the delivery of non-medical benefits programs for veterans. This includes disability compensation, pension, life insurance, and that's just to really name a few. Through a nationwide network of 56 regional offices, special processing centers, and VBA headquarters, he directs the execution of nearly $90 billion in direct benefits to veterans and their dependents. Now, Mr. Pummel was appointed to the Senior Executive Service in September of 2007, and before becoming Acting Undersecretary, he served as Principal Deputy Undersecretary for Benefits, second in command in the VBA. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Pummel retired as a colonel for the U.S. Army after serving 33 years. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Pummel. Come on up, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can y'all hear me back there? No? Who said no?
You're
Can
gonna
you hear
turn
me
up
now?
the volume.
Okay, I'll speak louder. I'm sorry. Way back by the window. Thank you for the kind introduction, and thanks for not letting it snow and sleet. So I guess they got the right guy here, so I'm impressed by that. Most of my life I spent in the Army. I joined the Army when I was 18 years old. I was an enlisted soldier for 10 years, and then after 10 years, somebody talked me into becoming an officer, and then I served an additional 24 years. When it was time to retire from the Army, Secretary Shinseki asked if I would come over and help out at the VA. That was only supposed to be for 1 year, but it just keeps getting stretched on and on and on. So I keep trying to retire, so I'll retire in the near future. I just don't know when that will be. I told the Secretary McDonald, when he asked me to fill this position, that I would serve as long as they thought I was doing a good job. When he thinks I can't do it anymore, let me know and I'll move on to the next person. I'm very happy to be here today in Colorado Springs. Secretary McDonald sends his regrets. He wanted to be here. The reason he wanted to be here was because he's trying to roll out a My VA concept across the country. And Colorado Springs has got it right. We know in Washington, D.C. that the federal government can't do everything that it's supposed to do for the veterans in this country. No one agency can. The only way that it could be done is if the federal government, the state government, the local government, elected officials at all levels, veteran service organizations, nonprofits, non-government organizations, and communities all team together to pool their assets to try to help veterans. It's happening here in Colorado. You guys have broke the code. It's working the way it's supposed to work, and things are going the right way for veterans. Board co-chairs, Kate Hatton and Bob McLaughlin, thank you both for inviting me here today and for sharing your celebration in this community's very important achievement. I personally want to thank you for all the hard work you've done in bringing this together and creating this collaboration to take care of the veterans of Colorado and of this area. I can't imagine to tell you how excited I am that a Veterans Engagement Board is working at this level. The Secretary has promised the President that he will roll out 50 of these across the United States over the next year. We got a model here on how to do it. This gives us an idea of how we can help other communities across the nation roll something out to work to take care of the veterans in the community. Let me start with some things that are already happening in your community. To help increase veteran employment, in Colorado works with the Employer Support Guard and Reserve, the Department of Labor, and several local employees. So far, over 6,000 veterans, Guard members, and reservists have attended military and veteran employment fairs throughout the Colorado Springs and Denver area. To help veterans cope with PTSD, the Eastern Colorado Healthcare System, PTSD, and Rec Therapy Program has teamed up with the Art of the War Project and VFW Post No. 1 to teach veterans to successfully use art as a therapy. To help eliminate veteran homelessness, VA trained once homeless veterans a skill, and they are now working at the Fort Logan Cemetery and other cemeteries across the country. None of this would have happened if it was up to the federal government to do it. It happened because your local community pulled together and did the things that were needed to be done to take care of veterans. On the national level, you all hear a lot about the backlog. I can tell you that we reduced the backlog from around 600,000 veterans. Today we're about 72,000 veterans. Our goal is to get that down to about 50,000 veterans. It will probably always be around 50,000 veterans because there are some claims that are just so complex or finding the records are so hard that it's going to take us a little bit longer to take care of those veterans, but that's the right thing to do. We're making decisions faster in VA. We're making them at a higher level of quality. Our quality is about 96% right now. We want to bring that up to a higher level. We're not there yet. We're trying our best to make it a little bit better because if we do it right the first time, it means we don't have to do it over again. As they said before, my office is responsible for $90 billion in benefits and services to the veterans of the United States on an annual basis. That's a daunting task. It's an important task. And we require the oversight of our elected officials and the veteran service organizations throughout the country to make sure we're doing right by our veterans. It gets a little painful sometimes when I have to sit in front of Congress or the Senate and answer questions about what we're doing. But when my staff and the people that work for me ask me, well, how did you feel about that? And I said, well, you know what? It was tough, but it's the right thing to do. It's how our country works. We're one of the few countries in the world where we have the rule of law and procedures, and we force government officials to do what they're supposed to do. There's lots of countries where there's graft and corruption, but for America, for the most part, we do the right thing, and the right thing is taking care of our veterans. In closing, I just want to say that I'm proud to be here today. I'm proud to be part of your community's efforts in taking care of veterans. Once again, no one person can do this. It takes a community to do anything right, to do anything on this scale. Whatever you have done in this community to pull all these diverse organizations together to help take care of veterans, it's absolutely remarkable. It's a model for the rest of the nation. I'm going to bring it back to Washington, D.C., and highly recommend that they take what you have done here and export to other communities throughout the nation. Together, we can all make sure that you have the support that you need, and to thank you for your service to your country. Once again, thank you for inviting me to this important and wonderful occasion today. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Powell. All right, this time we are actually going to ask our panelists. It looks a little tight, so be careful as you guys come on up here. Our panelists today are Bob McLaughlin. He's the co-chair, My VA Pikes Peak Community Board, COO, Mount Carmel Center of Excellence. Kate Hatton, co-chair, My VA Pikes Peak Community Board, president CEO of Peak Military Care Network. Renee Murphy, she's the director of the Denver VA Regional Office, Veterans Benefits Administration. Sarah J. Elton, she's the Chief of Operations for the VA National Cemetery Administration Continental District. Natalie Merkins, there it is. She's the Associate Director of Eastern Colorado Healthcare System. Michael T. Mickey Hunt, the Deputy Executive Director of Colorado Department of Military and Veteran Affairs. And Carl McDaniel, El Paso County Veterans Service Officer. All right, as a reminder, please make sure to write down your questions on the forms provided while we will gather those questions. And I'd like to start with a few questions for our panel. Once they get seated here, we will get started with that. But again, go ahead and feel free to write down those questions, then they will be brought to me, and we will ask those after we go through these first initial set of questions. All right, perfect. Everybody's in position. We will start with Bob McLaughlin. Bob, can you tell us about the objective of My VA Pikes Peak and who is involved?
Okay, do you think I can do that?
I think so. Trust you.
So the way I want to answer this question is to give you some perspective from a veteran, talk to you about the purpose, the focus, give you a quick update of what we've done so far as an organization, and then a quick way ahead here, because really it's going to be about our collaboration together to get it right in this community. First of all, my perspective as a retired military member who's working on a veteran service organization, my perspective is this. 70% of any issue that you have, whether you're on active duty or as a veteran, is miscommunication or lack of communication. What we hope to do here with the My VA Pikes Peak initiative is to better communicate, get information, and take action to improve a variety of things for vets in this community, and to eliminate some of the challenges that go with transition. Transition is described as transitioning out of the military, a move into the community, a change in jobs, whatever's going on in a veteran's life. So you heard a little bit about the My VA initiative nationwide. It's part of a national initiative, and the words that are used with the goals from the secretary is to be inclusive, to be accessible, to be community-driven. And I stress that today. Kate and I are the co-chairs of this initiative, and the VA is in support of the community here. So we take it very seriously that we're communicating effectively with this initiative to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and that we take positive action, to be flexible and to be integrated. So our organization, how did we do this? Kate's been working in the community for a while with the Peak Military Care Network, and she's going to talk about the community initiatives. What I want to share with you is I came into the community about a year ago after retiring to start my initiative with Mr. Jay Cimino, Mount Carmel of Colorado, which I got engulfed in veterans issues at that point. It was very refreshing for me to see after 6 months of doing this in a community that the leadership, the regional leadership of the VA approached Kate and I and said, in order to accomplish our goal, which Mr. Pummel told you about, we need leadership in the community that's out there to help do this. So we're encouraged. That's a beautiful thing for us. Kate and I got together and we looked at the issues that face veterans. It's jobs, it's behavioral health connections, it's being cared for with your family, it's educational opportunities, employment. And we went across the community to get subject matter experts in the community to help us establish the base of the board. However, as we go forward, it's not just about the board, it's about you in the audience working with us to make sure that the issues are solved. So I just would like to ask, not that if you're on the panel, but if you are a community board member, please stand up so we can recognize who you are if you're on our panel board. Thank you, Sergeant Meady. Doctor, thank you. So I appreciate your efforts in helping us here, and the list of names that are on our board are in the program as well. And I talked about subject matter experts. We want your involvement going forward as a veteran, as perhaps a subject matter expert, to help us communicate more effectively. So the purpose, the overarching purpose of this, of course, like Mr. Pummel said, put the veterans first, improve service of excellence, execute a culture of excellence and improve customer service, and then enhance partnerships. That's the stated objective of My VA. So how did Kate and I approach this from My VA Pikes Peak in this important region? It does great things collectively. And the only way we're going to get better is to keep on communicating effectively. We want to improve customer service. We want to work with our partners from the VA with your input to help improve customer service to veterans from both public and private sector. Mr. Pummel said that the government can't do it alone. The private sector has to step up. Kate and I want to anchor that to make sure that our community partners are communicating effectively with the VA moving forward. We want to establish strong communication and integrate in this region. So our focus primarily for this initiative is communication. We don't want to do or take over what other initiatives are doing in the community. This specific initiative is about communication. It's about communicating better with the VA. It's about private organizations in the community having venues like this where we can communicate going forward. And that's our main focus. So to date, we've established the base board. We've set up for this particular venue, which is about communication, and we want to do more of that going forward, and hopefully we get your input on that. So just to reiterate, this is a community initiative supported by the VA where we can better communicate your needs to the VA and get an action going forward next year on how better to support veterans in this community. So I'll conclude by saying I'm proud to be part of this. I'm proud to co-chair with Kate and some of the great people that are helping out. And this is just an example of us working together to try to make it better for the vets that have sacrificed so much that are living in this community. So thanks for the opportunity to give you a long answer to a short question.
All right, you mentioned Kate a lot. Let's move to Kate. Kate, can you talk about how the My VA Pikes Peak fits in with and coordinates with the military and veteran support efforts that currently exist in the region?
Sure. People hear me okay? I tend to talk too fast and too softly, so just yell at me or something if I tend to slip back into that. But My VA Pikes Peak is a great fit for this community because while this initiative is new, collaboration is not new in this community. We've been working, and many of us and many of the providers have been working with military. I thought I saw Colonel Moran somewhere around here too. So we have active duty involvement, we have VA involvement, we have business community and service provider from the nonprofit standpoint involved. The Peak Military Care Network was created to really figure out, herding the cats is what I like to call it, and really trying to connect the dots. There's so many resources in this community, and that's what's great about this community, but how are they all talking and connecting and working together? When someone walks in one door with 5 needs, and that expertise is not all in one room, that person providing the service can connect them to other folks as seamlessly as possible. That's what we've worked to build here, and I think what My VA Pikes Peak brings is that direct communication with veterans and families around what your needs are. Are we hearing and we thinking what we know? Probably not. We want to make sure that we hear and communicate well with those who need access to services, who are accessing services, who aren't accessing services because they don't know resources are available, or how do we connect? And ideally, we want to make sure that we have a healthy, productive community, that we're working well together, and that we all, again, are coordinating to meet needs. And that's what really the goal is, to make sure there's good communication and coordination, and that we're hearing. And this is our first effort, and this is the first you're probably hearing of My VA Pikes Peak. We hope to change that so that we can hear and get information from everybody who needs help to get that help, and to make sure we get help to folks proactively before there's a crisis. So they know there's good community support here, and that people don't need to wait to ask for help, that we're here and willing to step up and help across the board. And a lot of you in the room do that. A lot of the folks on the community engagement board and here up at the panel. And so really we're trying to make sure that we're all working together. Again, What can the military installations do and not do? What can the VA do and not do? And how does the community come together to support and meet needs, and hearing from those who do those services?
Excellent. All right, next I have a question for Natalie Merkins. There has been a lot of discussion regarding the Veterans Choice Program, including changes announced this week to expand access to care. Can you explain how the program works and how veterans may use the program?
Absolutely. But first, before I get started, I wanted to take a moment to recognize our World War II veteran who is here and acknowledge his service. So people So choice is one of the options that we're, or one of the systems that we have been choice is one of the new systems that the VA has initiated to make sure that we get timely access to care. And with choice, what the VA does is we take a look at the clinical needs, and if the veteran cannot receive those, the clinical care within 30 days, or within a certain mileage, which is just changed now with the new VA plan, we make sure that we're partnering with our third-party payer, or TPA, to get a consult sent out to the TPA, let the veteran know, and that way the veteran can link up to community care services and get their care faster. What has recently changed is physical therapy, optometry, and injections, and some infusion therapy, so that we can make sure those critical care centers, usually one or two or a few services, the veteran can get that care. And in this region, it's important because of the barriers with the snow and the weather and the mountains. So that's how the VA is reaching out to make sure we're continuing to partner with healthcare communities in our neighborhood or within our region, and making sure that we're also taking care of our veterans. Does that make sense? And I also have a team of experts here for individuals who are having challenges with that system, right over here with both Virginia and Linda, right? There we go. So we'll help anybody who needs some help.
Excellent. Next question I have is for Renee Murphy. Renee, can you give us an overview of VA benefits and how VBA relates to the VA's other components, including Veterans Health and National Cemetery Administration?
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a big question. So I will just tell you that VBA, as Mr. Carmel said, has multiple business lines. There are actually 7 business lines in VBA. They are compensation, pension, fiduciary, loan guarantee, education, insurance, and the rehabilitation and employment, vocational rehabilitation and employment. In the Denver Regional Office, we have 3 of those business lines represented. We have compensation services for Colorado and Wyoming. We have vocational rehabilitation and employment for Colorado and Wyoming. And we have a regional loan center which oversees an 8-state region, Colorado, Wyoming, and the Pacific Northwest. So the interconnection between the benefits, the biggest thing is with the compensation program, and also partly with the pension program. But once a compensation grant is made, then it opens the door to a lot of other benefits that VA can provide. So it opens the door for health care, it opens the door for vocational rehabilitation, it opens the door sometimes for, depending on what the disability is, for specially adapted housing, and for a lot of the other business lines and other benefits that VA provides. So that's really what the interconnection is. I will tell you that in Denver, we are very, very proud of what we've done in terms of our compensation backlog reduction. We have really done a great job of lowering our backlog. Even from last year, it was 4,900 cases, and now it's about 1,600 cases. And our regional loan center had the best foreclosure avoidance rate of any other regional loan center. We did an outstanding job with that. And our voc rehab division rehabilitated 370 veterans with a pre-program income of $400 a month and a post-program income of about $3,400 a month, which is actually a huge, huge benefit. In Colorado Springs here,
We have 3 offices. We have a transition office for the IDES program, which is on Fort Carson. And we have a vocational rehabilitation standalone building on Hollowrook Drive. And we have counselors at our at the clinic, at the VHA clinic here in Colorado Springs. And so what we notice sometimes is that a lot of folks will drive up to Denver or drive up to Lakewood to get counseling. And I just want to tell you, you don't need to do that. We have full counseling services at the Colorado Springs Clinic. So please don't waste your time in your car. Just drive up to the clinic, because we have people there who can answer your questions. So I think that was again a long answer to a short question, but that's it. Thank you.
Excellent. Next question is for Sarah Elton. Sarah, plans are currently being developed for a new national veteran cemetery here in El Paso County. Can you give us an update on the status of the cemetery, including the naming process?
Sure. The new 374-acre cemetery in the southeast portion of Colorado Springs, that's pretty general, but it's south of Peterson Air Force Base. So the property is owned by VA. We're going through the naming process right now, where anyone in the community, an individual, a veteran service organization, a VA employee, anybody can submit the proposed name for the National Cemetery. Names, it will include regional identification. We've only received 6 nominations so far. The more nominations we receive, we generally, if it's an appropriate name, we as the district forward suggestions to the undersecretary. The undersecretary approves those and sends those to the Secretary of VA for selection. So we can't name it after your friend or your dog or your best buddy or your old commander that gave you that sweet promotion in the military. It's not how it works. So we don't name it after people. We like to go after regions, an identifier. If you're in New Jersey, you know where Colorado Springs National Cemetery is or Pikes Peak National Cemetery is. You can identify that on a map. And that's what VA is going for right now. So that naming process for any individual is open through the end of December. There are contact information sheets at the back of the room where to submit those names, or you can catch me after this and tell me any name you want, and I'll put it in that submission for you as well. So we own the property, we're about to name it, but we need Congress to provide us funding for construction. So we're in design phase right now. When we are funded, we will be ready to begin the design of the cemetery, finalize that, and begin construction. So if you're wondering when, only Congress knows. The secret for everything is when it's funded. And the naming, or the development of a cemetery is based on, it's not a really difficult algorithm, nothing, mathematicians have to put together. 75,000 veterans in a 75-mile radius. Well, Fort Logan is just up the street. I cover 9 states and 19 national cemeteries, and I lead the operations and engineering programs for all of those sites. And I'm always looking at when we're going to close all of those cemeteries. How long do we have? How many people are getting buried? Who's coming in a big box? Who's coming in a little box? Those all count towards how much land gets used and how quickly a cemetery is closed and how quickly we can open up another cemetery nearby. And Colorado Springs is very close to Fort Logan. Fort Logan has casket space through the year 2025 if we go at our natural, our burial rate right now. We'll have plenty of room for cremations. However, casketed space is limited and it will end in 2025. That's our estimate. We have to have a cemetery before that. And I just want to assure everybody, it's nice when we own the land. The land is usually the hardest part. Now that we own the land, we're going to give it a name and we're ready. And as we go through the construction process, the design will go public with the full design. Once we have 100% approved plans, we can post images of that on the My VA Pikes Peak Community Engagement website so everyone can keep up with us. if we get funding sooner than we expect, if we get a bonus of something exciting happening, we get equipment there early, we're gonna tell you all everything when it's happening so you can feel connected. This is your cemetery, we're ready, we just need a little bit of funding. That is the update for the Colorado Springs area, and I'm willing to take any private questions about burial benefits or anything having to do with Fort Logan, Fort Lyon, or any of the cemeteries in our Continental District at any time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Wow, you're the popular one.
Bronco country, my new recommendation. Vicki Hunt, how about what is the role of the state in serving veterans and their families?
Turn the mic on.
It's on. It's on, I think it's on. Test it.
Test.
Yep.
I like Valana Vic for the name of the cemetery. That's just me. So I'm with the state of Colorado, and our department is the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. Our department has the Division of National Guard, the Division of Veterans Affairs, and the Division of Civil Air Patrol. Outside of our department is Human Services, where they have 5 veterans living centers in the state. And so those are outside of our purview, but we visit them each year to visit our residents there and say thank you to the veterans who are living there and save my room. So what we do in the division is that we have a State Veteran Cemetery in Grand Junction that's underneath us, and that's one of the things that we manage. We have a Division of Veterans Affairs office in Denver with Ben Mestis in the back, who's our division director. Our CVSOs that work there, state CVSOs, are responsible for training all the county veteran services officers throughout the state, and they do that on an annual basis. And then they do a lot of support on a daily basis to all rural. They also visit. They averaged last year, I think, over 16,000 client visits at their offices. We also, the good news is we have 2 grant streams. We have the Veterans Assistance Grant, which is $970,000. This primarily goes to nonprofits out there. It's annual money through the state statute, and their nonprofits can apply for services, direct services to veterans. And so those monies go out each year to primarily nonprofits. We have the Veterans Trust Fund, which last year was $792,330. Don't have the change. Those go out mostly to veteran services organizations. A lot of that money goes out to transportation throughout the state to get veterans to their appointments for veteran service, VFW's posts and such, getting transportation out to the folks. Lastly, 1 or 2 more things. I do a lot of travel throughout the state, encouraging communities. I was in throughout the state. I want to list them this right now, but encouraging those communities to develop networks similar to those that we have here with MyVA. So it's been a great success, and we want smaller communities to do that as quarterly meetings and breakfasts so that they can connect to the veterans in each community. And so that's been real good. Lastly, we have the Colorado Board of Veterans Affairs, 7 members appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate that meet monthly and advise our department on veterans issues. Thank you.
All right, finally, Carl McDaniel, I got a question for you. What is the role of counties, obviously particularly El Paso County, in serving veterans and their families?
Okay, thank you. Let me just back up a little bit and let you know that El Paso County and the Veteran Service offices all throughout the state were basically established by state law. So El Paso County basically had an office established in 1948. So since that time, we've been pretty much chartered to assist all veterans and their dependents and assist them in working with the VA. Our office, we are liaisons or advocates for the veterans and helping you file claims and everything else. You've heard the other panelists as far as the VBA benefits that you're entitled to. Well, we help you with interpretation of those decisions when you get them. We're the face-to-face that you see day to day. And you have the opportunity, as long as you're a resident here throughout your lifetime, to come see us on a regular basis. And that way you get that one-on-one service and a good explanation of what's going on. We assist you in filing the claim, If it's denied, we help you with the adjudication process, the notice of disagreement, and if it requires going to the Board of Veteran Appeals up in Washington, D.C., we help you with that process as well. So we're face-to-face with you on a regular basis, and we get to know you, your families as well, and assist your families in the event that the veteran passes away. We're still there to assist you. One other thing, we are a county of 83,000 veterans now. Many people are deciding to come and live here because they love the area and the support that is given to the veterans. And one last thing, we are not the federal VA. And a lot of people think that in El Paso County, because you're a veteran service officer, you're part of the VA. We're not part of the VA. We were established to help you as veterans and dependents navigate the federal law and the benefits with the VA.
All right, very good. So those are the pre-written questions. Now we're going to get to the audience questions. And following these initial questions, by the way, if you have an additional question that comes up, again, feel free to fill one out on one of those forms, and we will get those to the appropriate people, and then they will bring them up to me.
That's critical in to see that doctor. We have taken a look at since this crisis has arisen for VHA, and to my knowledge, no veteran has expired due to a delay in healthcare services. And we watch that very closely. We are open, we're transparent. If we have an issue, we're your federal government, we're your VA, we're gonna share what's going on. But again, we watch all of our wait lists and make sure that we're having hiring practices, that we're getting providers hired as quickly as possible, but we're making sure we're hiring quality providers also. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, I want the most qualified person for my tax dollars.
Absolutely.
All right, next, this is a general, actually I think VBA and VHA for this one. Is there any possibility of getting a 24-hour clinic in Colorado Springs?
Urgent care. Yeah. A 24-hour urgent care clinic. That is something actually that has been discussed, and if I recall right in Virginia, help me on this, is that a VHA DOD initiative that has been battered about a bit. So we're not there for a 24-hour care. I am eager, we already offer 6 days a week of care in Colorado Springs. And I'm eager to see 7 days a week. That we always offer care when somebody needs. If you need to go to an emergency room, you go to an emergency room. Chest pain, difficulty breathing, sudden onset of paralysis, you go to an ED, and the VA will pick that up. You just have to notify us that you're in the ED. So that's where we've been, and we've also are pushing, making sure that veterans will have same-day access. If you have the flu, if you have a cold, if you're not feeling well, we want you to email secure messaging for your primary care doctor. If you need pharmaceuticals renewed emergently, that also can be done via email. And we also have phone clinics so that we can triage, and if it's something that your primary care doctor knows about, they can go ahead and write a prescription and have you pick that up immediately. So that's how we're looking at same-day access, but emergency is emergency. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, we are trying to partner with our DOD brethren, and where we can provide more services to provide those services. And since that's where we get our people, kind of makes sense to work with them early, doesn't it? Okay, here's an interesting one, and I am cleaning this one up for the general audience. What does the VA do to help veterans find jobs? And I'm going to take this opportunity to do a little public service announcement for 2 websites for those of you who either have a computer or have a grandchild who does. There's a website called ebenefits.va.gov, and I'm here to tell you it is slick. Okay, you go in, you enroll, give it a couple days for all of your files to come up. You can go right in there and you can print out your home loan guarantee. You can go in and apply for benefits. You can go in and apply for compensation. Right then, right there, comfort of your own home, in your skivvies if you choose. Okay, it's awesome. Go in there, do it. Tell your friends too. If you don't have a VA disability or you're not receiving care through the VHA, You can also go out to ebenefits.va.gov, and I sound like a commercial, don't I? And you can print out your proof of service. So if you want to go to Home Depot and get your 10%, you don't have to fold up that $214 in the back of your wallet anymore. Okay? It's pretty slick. The other one that I'm going to let you know about is usajobs.opm.gov. All government jobs now are listed out in USA Jobs. There is a place out there for you to check if you are a veteran, if you have a veteran's preference. There are read them carefully because there's two different kinds of preferences out there. One is I are a vet, okay, I did serve, and the other is I am a veteran with disability, which can give you a preference in certain jobs. Read the articles very closely, go out there to USA Jobs and search out there and see what can be done. But that kind of answers in a general term for everybody how you can get your veteran's preference and apply for government jobs and also get those things from eBenefits is slick, I'm telling you.
I'd like to add to that answer from the private perspective with just an initiative that we're doing at the Mount Carmel Center of Excellence. We are setting up a Veterans Career and Employment Center, and the reason why I'm sharing this with you, it's a partnership with Charlie Whalen. Charlie, you over there? We're partnering with the county, so in our facility on 530 Communication Circle, we will have a Veterans Career and Employment Center, a workforce center just for vets and families. The county's going to take what they have over on Garden of the Gods and do a satellite office for vets and families in our building focused on employment. If you are a post 9/11 veteran, David, do you want to stand up? So David